Live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire, the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and from beautiful Indian Trail, North Carolina. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco, Kevin Acuff, and William Cooper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Spare Notes series. Sorry for the delay. For those of you who follow along, I've been very sick the last several weeks. It's been been very tricky. It's been bad. And I lost track of time. I was trying to get William caught up on my situation, so that he kind of knew how and why I was feeling this way. So, and I lost track of time. I apologize about that. And I also bring it up because I apologize for any inconsistencies that we've had here. With just me not being at 100%. It's been tough. Some days have been better than others, but I been doing a little bit better the last couple of days. So been trying to get caught back up. So I appreciate everyone's patience and understanding. Thank you. But other than that, William, it is good to see you once again on Saturday night.
It's good to see you, and Matt. Just I advise you to please take care of yourself. We want you 100%. So, I know it's your dedication to this is of course we appreciate you here tonight, but of course I want you 100% as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm dealing with it. I'm dealing with it. I won't really get into it because I'll be honest, it's nobody's business. But I'm dealing with it with my doctors, and we'll go from there. It's no big deal. But
Yeah.
we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to die, or at least anytime soon. Oh, what happened there? There we go.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, that was wow. What a sign. Anyway, but yeah. So there's that, and then also our Wednesday night show. We had an audio driver issue, which I didn't realize the severity of until after we finished the show. I'm trying to see if I can do some magic in the studio to fix that audio and salvage that episode. If not, man, that's too bad. But yeah, I had an audio driver issue during that show. That's why the audio was a little bit messed up. And I'll be honest with you, again, just being a little extra behind lately. Somehow I missed it. I don't know how, but I did. I apologize for that too. But we've moved on, and we're handling that situation as well. So thank you very much for your understanding on that issue. Now that we got all that out of the way. It is Saturday night. I'm going to smoke a smaller cigar tonight and see kind of how I feel after that. I don't think we're going to go super long tonight, but we're here, and we're going to have a show for you guys. We're going to have a great discussion, and we're going to get caught up on a couple of things. So, Coop, why don't you get us started here, buddy? What are you smoking?
I'm in honor of the barn smoker in Florida, which I wish I could have been there today. I'm going to smoke the Liga Privada H99 Super Ancho, the 6x60. Gordos of Vitolas too is what I tell everybody. When I get Anfan into a Gordo, that's a good thing. And Anfan lately, he's the Lancero approved guy. It's good to see him smoking Gordos. So I want to do him some justice there.
I love Gordos. I went through a phase in like 2019, like right before the pandemic happened, where I was smoking a lot of Gordos, and then once the pandemic started and when I was home and just smoking a shit ton of stuff like everybody else, it kind of stopped because then I had all this time to just smoke a bunch of random shit all the time, and then I just kind of moved on because I was just all over the place, and then I kind of came back to it for a brief period where I was like, for like 3 months, I was exclusively almost smoking Gordos in my free time when I wasn't smoking stuff for this. And then it stopped again. But I do love them. But, I have like this come and go relationship with them when they're like, my favorite cigar at the time, or size, I should say. And then it kind of goes away. But there's never any love lost. I mean, I like a lot of tobacco, so um, that thicker ring gauge is usually with most blends is usually a good one for me. But I'll tell you, lately I've been going medium ring. I've been going 50, 48, 52 ish. It's been kind of like my sweet ring gauge size right now. But I'm smoking the Villiger 1888 Robusto right there. Get that right there.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful band. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I saw this. There's a bunch of stuff down in the studio. And I always try to smoke something new or something different that outside of, what I normally would smoke when I can, especially on this show. And I saw these and I said, you know what? All right, I'm gonna grab these because I need something different. And so far, it's not bad. We'll see how it develops. We're just off the foot here, but so far not bad. That's my introductory comment on that cigar. But the cigar you're smoking, good for you. Good for you. It's nice to see you smoking something big, Looks good on you.
Absolutely. Actually, it's funny. I just finished a review of a 70 ring gauge today. So
Did you?
but I did that much earlier today. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we actually I think so we're in the process of trying to our review cycles have just been all over the place this year because of a lot of personnel issues. But we have a new member of the team now who's fucking awesome. Sorry, I just couldn't keep my excitement in. His name is Pat. And you'll get to see more and more of him as time goes on. But right now he's banging through a lot of reviews, trying to get us caught up along with the rest of the team as we go into the end of the year. So I know that cigar was supposed to be reviewed at the beginning of like this year, end of last year, and it was not done. So I know he has those, and they're in his queue of when you get caught up, get these out. So a review on that will be coming as well. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're working on right now. But hey, let's talk about what we're cutting and lighting with. As always, our friends from ST Dupont are with us, and I have some interesting pieces. I know, Coop, you got your ever-growing ST Dupont collection over there. You got your Fluo. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that lighter. Kicks ass.
I lucked out. I got the color I wanted of this too when they sent it, and I did. By the way, they send these and they're loaners, but we do have the option to buy them. And every loaner I've gotten, I bought. So if that gives you any,
Yeah, I have a mix because like I have a bunch I own, and then there's a bunch of loaners on the table, so I'm all over the place. One of the ones I have with this is kind of one you've all probably seen before. I have with me the Legrand, although this is one of the new Legrands, which features the perfect ping inside the lid. The Legrand, for those who don't know, is similar to the Line 2, is a soft flame with the roll flint. However, the flint roller, when pushed up, actually engages a single jet torch and removes the soft flame, but if you let it go again, there comes the soft flame. It's a combo, and it's interesting. And it's funny because I was going to talk about this a little bit tonight. Now that I've been playing with it for a while and kind of comparing it to some of the other lighters that are in the DuPont collection, which shake up the legacy ST DuPont. Now, when it comes to some of their products, and we've talked a lot about them before, but I'm going to bring this one up specifically. And this is going to get reviewed. All the DuPont products are being reviewed right now because we have access to them, and then there's a bunch of other accessories that are also in the queue at the moment. So a lot of accessory reviews are about to come out of nowhere.
I've increased my accessory reviews this year across the board. So I've been doing well, not just DuPont, but I've done a lot. Basically, I think there's things that I've changed some things on Coop this year, and like there's certain things I've stopped reviewing, but there's things that I noticed I should be paying more attention to and put more like accessories was something I wasn't paying attention to review wise. So we have made a conscious effort to have more accessory reviews. And less TAA reviews. I mean, that's just that's just reality. It's the numbers. It's a numbers game. The accessories reviews would do much better.
Yeah, I agree. And I had this conversation with Charlie Minato of Half Wheel a few years ago. And when I had that discussion, I kind of went back to the drawing board and I started to kind of look at where we're at for accessory coverage, and we really were not on our game with that. And that's when I kind of stopped and was like, no, we got to get into accessories. And I'll tell you, you notice a difference. Charlie was right. I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
But we really gotten into the accessories, and so we have a lot of Dupont products, Zycar products, few others that are currently over the next month and a half are going to be coming out. So very excited about that. So always good stuff. Everyone likes to read a review on a product before they buy it, especially one like this. One of the things I will say about this, Coop, have you used the Legrand?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So
I don't have one, but I've used it. It's just like that.
What I will tell you, or for the audience who are listening, if you've ever considered, spending the money on it like around the line too, this is kind of my take on it. This is still a Dupont lighter. Okay, this is still, this ain't cheap. This is a Dupont lighter. Personally, I think the single jet thing is like a cool little, bonus. I think the Line 2 is better. For several reasons. Now, and it's okay if people disagree. That's fine. Because, again, like cigars, even the accessories, it's all personable. It's all about what you like. It's all personal preference. There's no right or wrong answer. Just in my experience of, and I have them all on the table. There's a Line 2 here. I have a Maxi Jet here. There's, I have a Prometheus lighter, which I don't really use. That's down here for review. I use them all. Great lighter. Great lighter. There's nothing wrong with this lighter. I personally, I think the Line 2 is nicer. For me, as someone, when you're considering a lighter like this with a soft flame, I think the Line 2 is just a little bit sleeker, because it is. It's not as beefy, which I like. I can do without the single torch. I don't like how loose the roller feels because it has to be. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. I think I like the Line 2 better. If I was going to spend the money, I think I like the Line 2 better.
I actually would not normally have lit this cigar with the ST Dupont. It worked fine, but it's a single torch. The light at 60 or 70 is kind of tough.
Yeah, that is big.
So normally I don't, but for the show tonight I did, and certainly you can. It's just you got to just toast it a little longer, is all. But yeah, I'm more of a jet. I think I told you I'm more of a jet lighter guy. But I do need to, there's some soft flame lighters I do want to review as well.
Yeah.
So I find that because I've been reviewing more accessories lately, I've kind of gotten to this different pattern of using the same accessory now for a period of time, just because you want to test the durability of things like that.
Sure.
And I know on the last show I pointed out, Matt, you one of your reviews was spot on. I think it was the Fluo review. Was it the Fluo? Where you said that this thing, when you light this, no misfires. 0%. I mean,
that might have been me. Kevin did a Maxi Jet Fluo, and I did the Biggie with the flat flame.
Biggie, you did it was a big. It was definitely the Biggie. Yes,
that was mine.
And I did the Slimmy, and like I said, I've done the Slimmy, the Defi Extreme, and the Maxi Jet, and like I said, 0%. Now normally I'll get if it's under 2%, that's fine. But sometimes I'll get that 2% on some other brands, but this is a 0. Like I said, if you're spending that type of money, it should be a 0. And that's what I'd say. Across 3 different products to get a 0, it's on misfires. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that makes DuPont what it is. You buy a lighter because You need the flame to be ready when it's
Yeah.
asked for, and when you pull that trigger and you set it to ignite, it should ignite every single time. Um,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know if I wrote this in my review. I know I've said it, but I don't know if I wrote it in the review, but I kind of likened it to anyone who's ever ridden kickstart motorcycles before. There's like this adage of like, oh, like it starts on first kick. You know what I mean? Because some of them don't. You gotta give them a whole kick,
Yep.
and if it gets flooded, and you're gonna be kicking for a while. But Dupont's like that first kick startup. You know what I mean? Like you give it one kick, and the motor's going nice and strong, and that says a lot. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they're not the only people who do it, but they're one of the only people that all their products do it almost every time consistently, without a doubt. If it doesn't, there's something wrong, and it's because it was damaged, and they'll fix it too, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I mean, it's it is what it is. I mean, there's a few other higher end products out there, other brands we've used. And tested. Some of them are going to be reviewed. That don't. I have one with me here. Yeah. So this is a Prometheus lighter. This is an Opus X edition Prometheus lighter. As you can see, very intermittent. Very intermittent.
Oh.
Now, this lighter in this special edition is, I don't know, Coop. What did these go for? Like $200-$300?
I want to say that, yeah.
So for $200-$300, you're like, oh, limited edition. Like, this is cool. And it doesn't always light. That's an issue. Also, it's light. Like, this is a bigger lighter. I mean, look at this compared to the Legrand. I mean, it feels light, feels hollow. There's something to be said about, solid lighter. It's kind of like, like a fake Rolex, or like,
Yep.
these fake Swiss watches. One of the ways you can tell, and I worked in fine jewelry, and I have, and I own Swiss watches. One of the, people would bring watches in all the time. And they're like, oh, I got this Rolex. Or like, oh, I got this Breitling, or I got this Omega. And I'd say, okay, let me take a look at it. And they would hand it to me, and right away I would know. Because they would hand me this Omega or this Breitling Avenger, and it would be light as a feather. And I'm like, that ain't real. And they're like, what?
Yep.
And I'm like, where'd you get it from? And they're like, oh, I bought it from this guy. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't real. Like, those watches, when you get them, they're solid, they're heavy. Because they are. There's a lot to them. That's why it's a Swiss watch. You know what I mean? They're all made by hand.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. It's just there's something nice about that. Nice about that feel of like the weight, the solid structure of it. And it's the same you get with some of these other products. Now again, we're talking about lighters, and I'm not talking about your $20 Lotus lighter, which is also a great lighter. Those triple torch lighters for $20 that a lot of people have. Those work. They're great. We have them. We use them. That's not what this discussion is about. It's about luxury products. Of that higher price point that you're gonna get what you pay for. Some of them deliver and some of them don't. That's kind of what I mean by all of this. It's not just it's not like the regular stuff. Like I'm not trying to knock the $30 lighter. That's not what this is about. It's about the ultra luxury premium stuff that when people hey, like they want them, but maybe they don't know. They're a little shy on spending the money. It's a lot of money to spend, and I get that. So, part of this discussion is also to explain to you, kind of like, well, if you're gonna spend the money, these are the products that you can feel safe about, and these are the ones that I don't know. I've had them go good, but I've also had them not go so good. So, sorry to want to rant there, but I just kind of wanted to really encompass the explanation there. So,
Yep.
and Coop, I know you'll probably agree with most of those points.
Yep, I do. Yep.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that covers our accessories for the night. Oh boy. Sometimes I get distracted, and I certainly have.
That was a good discussion. That was good discussion, actually. So
Yeah. Yeah. But one of the things we talked about on the last show, and we won't go too deep into this, but I think it's just worth at least acknowledging. In the last show, we were doing the show during the World Series, and for our New York fans, I'm sorry, being a Boston fan, I'm really not. But can you blame me? This guy grew up in New York, but he's also not a New York fan. He's a Philly fan, so he's on my side. Sorry.
Right.
The Yankees lost the World Series to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, being from Boston, kind of didn't want either one of them to win, but if I have to choose, obviously I'm not picking the Yankees. So, congrats to the Dodgers. They're World Series champs again. And I'll tell you, they got some great guys on that team. Freddie Freeman, man.
Yep.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
grab! What a grab!
Yeah. I mean, the thing is this: the Dodgers were the best team this year. I don't even know if the Phillies would have beat them, right? And amazing they kind of. Well, this hasn't even been the strongest Dodger team.
Yeah,
But listen, I say this all the time, and I get beat up by a lot of people on this. When you're in the professional sports, you have one job to do, and that's to win a championship. Everything else does not matter, right? It does not matter. The Phillies failed; they did not win a championship this year. The New York Yankees failed; they did not win a championship this year. Now, the next thing you look for is okay, someone has to be the better team, right? So you want to see if you're gonna if a team has to go down, you want them to go down with heart and you want them to go down with pride. I was very upset because the Phillies went down to the Mets with no heart. And 2 years ago when we battled the Astros, I thought we had a little more heart. I thought that no hitter killed us. Unfortunately, that was a bad effort by us. But in general, I thought that team it fell short, but I felt like they gave it all. The New York Yankees have to be completely embarrassed, okay, by that performance in a World Championship Series. I mean, it's a championship series. I get it, and the idea is if your best player is not performing like Aaron Judge, you need other guys to step up at times. And I thought guys like Stanton and Soto certainly did, but I mean, in reality, they put up no fight. They put up no fight against the Dodgers. It was, and then when they looked like they looked like there were a window in that game 5 where they were going to 5-0. And you know what? Anything can happen, right? And then they just play the worst fundamental baseball that I ever saw in a championship series. Just blunder after blunder after blunder. It's not acceptable. It is not acceptable when you go out with a bad taste in your mouth. And they didn't. That's how they went out. And then it's you're brought in to win a championship. You're not brought in to win MVPs. You're not brought in to win regular season games. You're brought in to win a championship.
very, very true.
That this is not little league, okay? This is major league sports, okay? And nothing else. You have fallen short of your goal. And I get certain teams it takes them a couple years to get to that goal. The Yankees were built to win this championship this year, and they made good moves this year. They bring in Soto, they trade for Chisholm. They made some good moves this year, but to go out in 5 games to a Dodger team that didn't have really starting pitching, right? Ohtani was not Ohtani in that series, playing hurt. Dave Roberts is Dave Roberts. He's not Charlie Manuel, right? So that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Yankees released Anthony Volpe. I'm not Anthony Volpe.
No, Rendon.
Rizzo.
Yeah, we have 3 Anthonys. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
And
Anthony Rizzo.
And good for them. That's what they needed to do.
Yeah, see ya. I mean, I'm not a Yankee fan, but I'm a big fan of the game. So I like when I look at the guys in the clubhouse. First of all, Judge is a disappointment. Now I don't expect them to cut him out, but dude, that was your chance to be a big league player, be a Yankee in October, and you did nothing. Anthony Rizzo,
Judge held a higher level, Matt. Yeah, when you do put up numbers he has, you are held to a higher level. There's no excuse.
Exactly. You're the captain. Yeah. when
look,
you wear when you wear that uniform, I mean, there's certain clubs. I mean, look, it should matter in every club, but the reality is there are some clubs where when you're that guy and you wear that uniform, there is an expectation.
Put on the pinstripes. You're talking about pride and tradition. That's what George would say.
Yeah, 100%. And that's even coming from someone who grew up in Boston, that's what makes the New York Yankees such a storied franchise because, that is the culture that they created. The Yankee pinstripes in the Bronx, that means something. When you wear that uniform in the Bronx and it's the World Series and you don't do anything to help the team and you're the captain, that's a big deal. Like that's not going to be forgotten. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No, and look at the other hand. Stanton tried to put that team. Stanton. I've been very critical. I've been very critical about Stanton and his tenure in the Yankees. He got into the playoffs and he had a sense of urgency. And that's what Garrett Cole had lost the game, but he had a sense of urgency to make sure he kept his team in the game.
I thought Garrett Cole was great.
Look, Yankees, man, they got problems. They had to extend Cole. They're gonna have to re-sign Soto. I don't know. They got a lot of problems. And this is the Yankee way. Unfortunately, is they always end up re-signing their stars, and then they don't take care of the rest of the team. And that's I feel what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, the Red Sox have done that the last couple of years as well too.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with them. We had a good run. We finally we got it all going in 04, and then 07 happened. We were like, oh shit, we got 2, and then 13 happened. It was like we started getting cocky, and then 18 happened. It was like, all right, this is becoming a regular thing, and then that was 6 years ago, and not much has really happened since then, and I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it comes from the top. I think a lot of it comes from the front office, and I know that from what I hear and what I read, the Red Sox front office I think is more interested in basic business, which again you can't hate them too much for, because at the end of the day it's all business, right? As much as we want our team to win, it's just business. Everyone has to get paid. That's kind of the whole idea. But the other thing is, I think that they're trying to expand. I know that they've been expanding with other leagues and with other franchises. That ownership group now owns the Liverpool Football Club. They own the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know they have an ownership stake in a NASCAR team with RFK Racing. I believe they are interested, and they've said this publicly, about going after an NBA franchise, possibly putting it in Las Vegas, as everyone's bringing franchises to Las Vegas right now. They are interested in doing so. So I think that they accomplished the mission that they promised that they would do with 2004, and then they gave us 07, 13, 18. It was like, we got 4 World Series championships. I'm not going to complain. We got 4 World Series championships, 6 Super Bowls, a Stanley Cup, and now 2 NBA Finals in the last 20, 25 years. We have nothing to complain about, and that's about as humble as I can be. I know others would disagree, but that's about as humble as I can be. And I think that ownership group is exploring other financial opportunities, which, I understand. I do. I understand, because that's what a business is. The Yankees, I don't think they're in that position. The Yankees are the Yankees. That's their primary focus every year. But it is interesting, Coop. It's interesting that a franchise like the New York Yankees, after 98, I mean, they won that one in 09.
They won 2000. They also won 2000, but they lost 2001.
2000. Oh, that's right. 2000. Yeah. 2000.
Yeah.
And then,
they beat us in 2009. Which they were the best team that year when we got beat by them. They were the better team that year. You won't hear me. We were the second best team. Those were the 2 best teams in baseball. They were the better team that year.
But still, think about the last 24 years. 1 win.
Not acceptable. This
The
is the
Yankee
Yankees.
franchise, it had a reputation of every decade they at least had a couple of those World Series. I mean, the 90s,
Yeah,
the 80s, the
they
70s, like
they went a whole decade without being in a championship series.
what
And you're the
happened?
Yankee. If you're gonna wave 27 banners, and you certainly, if you won them, you have a right to. You're gonna be held to the higher standard, and injuries are not an excuse. Injuries are not an excuse anymore. I'm sorry. You build a team. You build your team so it's not fragile. There are teams that are built, on it that have been fragile. They don't win. If you're not, you have to have other parts in there that could step in.
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of comments here. Red Sox are a mess. John Henry needs to sell. He has lost interest, so let someone else on the team. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what I was going with. I don't know if I would put lost interest. I think maybe, but I definitely think that his interest is definitely occupied with, again, expanding that portfolio of these other
Yeah,
franchises. Which, again, which it makes sense because now you're not focused so much on the Red Sox because like, well, now we're trying to get an NBA team, and it's like, I get it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's like you got to rob Peter to pay Paul.
yeah,
He's not
yeah,
far off there. I mean, it's kind of it's what it. I know what he's trying to say, and but I think what I add to that comment is I know why he's not as interested because he is looking for other opportunities, which again I get it, but in the meantime that this team suffers. So and we've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen before.
yep,
It's part of all sports, Coop. I mean, we've seen football teams deal
yeah,
with this, baseball teams
right,
deal with this, hockey franchises. I mean,
yeah,
it's part of it. It's funny. One of the other things I want to bring up. I didn't want to spend too much time on baseball, so I don't want to like starkly change the
yeah,
topic. But there was some. So we talked about on the last show. We talked about the PCA opening up a consumer membership and kind of some of the
yep,
pros and cons with that. And
right,
and I know Jay's watching, so I'm ready for the backlash. As much as I do love Jay like family, I know he's gonna get upset, but we actually had someone write into us. I found a submission on the website, and someone actually wrote in about this particular topic. So I guess don't be mad at me because I didn't say it. This is just someone wrote this into me, and they said, and I could log into WordPress and find it, but it was along the lines of the subject was the PCA consumer whatever, and this person wrote it's to me in a nutshell it was to me it sounds to me like this is a money grab, to get money from you. Quick and easy or something like that. And I read that and I said, I mean, I don't know if I would put it that way, but
no, it's not fair.
I don't know if I would put it that way, but I think when you go back to the conversation we had about how they should have launched it with all of the other things, this is the problem, right? Now, let me set this up. So this is not me and you saying this, but the average consumer, the listeners of the show who are out there, who write into the show, who hear this, and then they go and they look at it. So the average guy out there, his perception is this is a quick money grab. Okay. So that's what the general audience is seeing, and that's what they're saying. And that's what, now he's not saying he's right. That's what he sees and that's what he thinks. So I think going back to your original point, Coop, where, hey, maybe they should have waited till they had a little bit more other things to be like, oh, well, you're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Now they've created this image out of the gate where it's like, we're going to do this membership and like, you can't come to the trade show, but like, you spend $100 and like, you get to be a member. Like, that's cool. And it's like, yeah, they look at it like, for what? Like, that's the feedback we've already gotten from the general public is like, for what? I'm giving you this money and what do I get? You know what I mean? So I definitely think it's something the PC has to address because you don't want that going. And these comments are now being made to us. You don't want that floating around. So, and Coop, I'll let you respond to that now.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, well, there's two things I have to say on that. Number one is no one's forcing anyone to join anything,
Sure.
right? No
Yeah.
one's forcing you. And number two is I think the PCA has to be applauded for starting to look at other revenue streams. And we talked about this on the last show. They could never be in a position again that happened in 2020, where there was no trade show and it cut off all the revenue things, right? Do I think they needed to beef this up a little more? Yes, I do, right? Do I
Sure.
think this is a bad strategic direction? No. Do I think it's a money play? It's not a money grab. It's a necessary thing because they need to make sure they have other revenue streams. And it's really up to you as a consumer. You don't have to join it, right? I think that it's PCA should obviously make it as enticing to join as possible, but no one's forcing you to join it. That's not, no, but like I said, I think it's very important that I got to applaud the board and the management of the PCA for recognizing that they cannot get caught with their pants down like they did in 2020. Almost destroyed the whole organization. So, like I said, do I think they need more work with it? Yes, and I think they will get there. I'm just confident enough they're going to get there. Would I maybe waited a little? Yeah, I would have, but I can't fault them for the strategy they're taking here.
Yeah, I agree. But that's why I added the comment, like, just for the PCA to know, keep in mind this is the discussion that's being had amongst the target audience of this membership. So keep that in mind, and take that with you as you move forward.
It's a hot potato. When you step into the consumer, you're stepping into the biggest hot potato area the last 15 years that I've seen in the PCA. It has to be handled with kid gloves. I think I mentioned 2 times the Consumer Day thing failed. First time, it was just suggested. It caused a war. The second time, they actually tried to implement it. It almost brought the PCA down. So they have to handle this one with kid gloves. This is a very sensitive issue for people who have, there's a lot of people who feel this is still a retailer organization, and that's your base. So it has to be handled with kid gloves, is what I'm saying. It's not a switch you can turn on, yeah. They have to be aware of that. You're right.
I agree. And then the thing is, because you got and I don't say this disrespectfully. It's just, it's the facts of life. Just like there are other industries that we don't understand. Most of the consumers, they don't understand a lot of like the inner workings of the industry like we do, because we're actually involved in it. We know people, we do things and whatever. A lot of them they don't necessarily, and I don't mean that like as a knock against them. I mean they don't, and they don't need to, because they don't they don't have to worry about it. So they don't understand like the fundamentals of like certain things and I'm not just saying about this. There's other things, like kind of adding to what you said about when you bring in the consumers. You kind of have to take some extra consideration, because like there's a lot of things that they may see and that they don't understand why it's being done. They don't understand. A lot of the consumers, they still don't. Because I ask people, because I talk to people, and a lot of them still don't even understand truly what the PCA does. They all just think it's a trade show company like TPE and Phillips and King and Cratech, and they think it's just a trade show company. And no, I have to tell them, no, it's not a trade show company. They put on a trade show that is the trade show, but that raises money for what they actually do. And I have to actually sit down and I have to explain it to them. So yes, anything they do to raise money, it's not like because, well, we can make money off of this and like it's good for profits, like the other organization does with their show. No, it's, well, we have to find ways to keep people engaged and raise money, because we need all the money we can get, because that's how we continue to pay for all the lawyers and all the legal fees and the administration costs for all this other stuff that we do to help protect you from having a generational smoking ban in your town or a flavored cigar ban in your area, in your state. So that's what it's really all about, which is great. That's why they're there, and that's why we support them. But people still just don't get that. So when you have something like that, and you have a group of people who maybe still doesn't understand what the real primary function of Premium Cigar Association is, and they just see that and they don't, this goes back to educating the public, especially the general consumer, as much as you can on the Premium Cigar Association and even the Cigar Rights of America, and what those organizations actually are. They're not clubs. They're not social clubs. It's not about like, oh, I sign up and I get a hat in the mail. Like, no, that's not what it is. It's a far greater meaning than those things. So, yes, like they're trying to do something new, and they're charging money. They're trying to generate more revenue for administrative costs, which is a good thing because it's not a for profit thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, again, this is that conversation we always have. It's like people have to understand what the PCA is. It's not just about a trade show, and it's kind of that same old story that we always have. And this is another good example as to why. So I wanted to make sure we brought that up.
I saw a message. I didn't get the message. I saw a message from someone saying, "Hey, I'm a retailer, and no one ran this idea about me by the consumers by me." And I think this is worth a comment as well. No, they don't have to run this by you. You have a board of directors that you can elect. That's what you do. You elect your board of directors to represent you on these types of issues. They cannot go to the masses every time with this, right? They can survey you or something maybe like that, and that's fine. But they can't. This has to be in this. And guess what? If you don't like the way your board of directors is functioning, you have a really powerful thing because now it's more transparent. You can vote them off the board and vote them out of a job.
Yep.
Right. And listen, I'm going to be very honest. Jay does a great job. The whole board does a good job. But I do see some of the board elections as a popularity contest. I ain't gonna lie to you, right? So
I think that's true for a lot of
unfortunately a lot, right? And I'll tell
that's
you,
part of life.
Not Jay. This ain't Jay, but there are some people on the board who I love, and I have great relationships with, right? I fundamentally disagree with some of their stances. I can tell you that straight out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's different from me, what I think of them interacting as a media person with their companies. But I'm just saying, as a board, I don't get to vote, unfortunately, right? So, but if I had to vote, they would be voted out. Just being honest here, because again, I feel that so as a retailer, you have that right to really kind of, and look, there's no reason why you can't grow your some board members and just ask them, like, hey. Most of the board members and even the PCA, they're very responsive to communications right now, and I'd encourage them to do that. And I talked about this, Matt, on the last show. Go back to 2013, I couldn't get a message return from the IPCPR on issues. I mean, there were issues being raised, and I could not even get the courtesy of a message back. And Josh Habersky and Scott Pierce, Jay Davis, Scott Regina, all these guys, they are so responsive, and they do listen to you. I was really impressed with Scott Regina in the last couple of years. I think he really does. I think he's been a great president, by the way, because he seeks to understand and listen, and he's pragmatic. And I think we've had really good leadership on the board. And Greg Zimmerman as well was a great president. So those two guys, there's good leadership there. They'll listen to you, but unfortunately, they can't go to you and get your buy-in every time. However, the flip side of that is take the pulse. Take your pulse a little closer. You got to get a pulse on this consumer thing. That's the only thing I would say because it is a hot issue. So that's why I'm kind of going. You cannot just put something out there and not expect feedback on this because it's been the most controversial issue by far that I've covered the cigar industry with the IPCPR/PCA.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to add something in there, and I forgot. That's
I rambled. I rambled.
No, it's all right. I forgot. It's whatever. I forgot too. I mean, whatever. So I totally had something in there and I lost it. But I also got distracted because I was looking at this comment from Jay. Did you see the half article about Trump's chief of staff that she lobbied on behalf of Swisher? I didn't, so I don't know anything. I don't know what this is about. Do you know what it's about?
I don't. I heard about this. But again, lobbyists are paid to do a job sometimes, right? Doesn't mean that that's what they believe in. Doesn't mean that this person's going to go to save the industry. That's what I'll just say. So it doesn't. It's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I remember, Matt. I don't know if you were the 2016 election.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Giuliani was going to save the industry. Okay, save the industry. And I normally don't write political stuff. I wrote a political article tearing apart Giuliani's commitment to helping the cigar industry. I got hate mail. I got people. It was brutal to push back. How dare you talk about that about Rudy? I said,
Rudy was well loved back then.
Rudy was well loved back then, and this was taboo. I'm telling you, there was certain stores told me don't ever come in my shop. Right? It was, and I'm just gonna say this: did Rudy save the industry? Did Rudy do anything? He got a check from IPCPR the year after for being the keynote speaker and talked about fracking. I mean, and I love Rudy, by the way. I voted for him for mayor, and I voted for him for president. Right? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be very honest with you. So I love the guy. It's not that, but I always felt he never had a commitment. He likes cigars. That's cool. He never was committed to helping this industry, not once.
No, but
that's the last political statement I'll make. But yeah,
the only statement I'll make is while I don't ever feel confident in anybody doing anything, I think if someone's going to do anything for our industry, it might be now. If it happens, I think it'll happen now, or I think we lose it, because I think what you're going to see with this incoming group is I think you're going to see a very wide range of a cast of characters who you just might get someone who is willing to go out there and do it. Based on a couple of things I've already heard about, I'm like, what about the cigar business? I don't know.
And I don't
know. I'm just saying.
Okay, I sounded dismissive on Jay's comment, but there is a positive to look at that, right? Maybe this White House chief of staff takes a phone call now from someone in the industry, so that maybe that's not a bad. That's right. It's not a bad thing. I just don't want to attach anything to this industry because she's on the chief of staff. That's why I'm just being cautious. But maybe she takes a phone call. That's
what. Let me actually add one thing, and I'm trying not to because I don't like to get into political conversations.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't, especially today. I don't think it. I just would rather not be in it because it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what side you're on. It gets messy.
Yeah.
But I do listen. I listen to what everybody says, and I take the facts of what comes out of everybody's mouth, not just what. Well, if someone said, no, if a particular politician or whatever says something, I hear what they said. It comes out of the horse's mouth. So. However, I didn't actually hear him talk about this, but a lot of people have been talking about it. And so what I did hear was that it's looking like Trump is going to pick RFK Jr. to be in charge of the health department or something like that. I don't know. He's going to be like the Surgeon General. Or he's going to be. He's going to
Health and Human Services. HHS. Yeah.
Yes, and part of that job is going to be, as many people have been putting, that he will be overseeing dismantling pieces of the FDA, or something along those lines. There's a lot of pieces about the FDA. They say that in his role, he's going to go in and be like, no, you can't fucking do this. And I started thinking, I'm like, well, not for nothing, but let me just say it. Wouldn't it be great if on his list of things to do with dealing with the FDA was, oh yeah, and by the way, leave the fucking cigar people alone. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have no business being involved in that. It's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream, but it's if we're going to talk about it, it's like, well, add that to your list,
I'm not, yeah. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this.
Well, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
There are things the FDA does that are good too. I mean,
no, I agree. There are something, but there are things that, as we have discussed,
without saying horrible,
that they get involved in stuff that they also don't need to be involved in. So it's like, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a glimmer of hope that we could just be like, you know what, you don't deserve to be involved with tobacco products. That's not for you.
Maybe Eric Trump wants to smoke a cigar, and he goes.
He's like, you know what, Dad? Like, fucking fix this, will you? Like, come on. I don't know. I heard that piece, and I said, if you get someone in there and you get his attention, you'd be like, hey, can you look into the cigar situation with the FDA? Like, maybe. I don't know. It's the only thing. It's the only thing we got.
This goes back to the Rudy Giuliani thing.
I know.
There were I'm going to tell you, there were high-level people in the industry, all right, manufacturers, right, who were saying that Giuliani was going to save this industry. I was like, are you kidding me? It's because it's such a low priority in the scheme of things. They got bigger problems to figure
Dude,
out
it's a
right now.
drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket. I get it. I do. I'm not pissed about it. Like, I get it. I mean, I'm pissed that the FDA does some of the shit that they do, but I get it. You know, I understand.
But we've seen something in the courts help us. You know, in the last couple of years.
I'll be honest. I agree. I would rather see like the government be more concerned on bigger issues that we have as a society than premium cigars. As much as if they did, I'd be like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be mad about it. But like, at the same time, it's like I know that there are bigger fish to fry, and there should be. But it is ridiculous sometimes what we deal with. So
it is very important to us, though. I understand that. Yeah,
it is important to us. And honestly, if any administration would deal with the problem, it'd be like, well, you know what? They dealt with that. I'll give them that. I'll give anyone the pat on the back if they dealt with our problem and made it go away. Because that, at least it'd be one less thing to worry about. But you know what?
Yeah.
No one has done it, so no one gets the pat on the back. So there's that.
I mean, what I'll say is there's two things you can look at out of this presidency that I'd look at right now. Number one is you're not going to see Cuban cigars anytime soon. And number two is I would keep an eye on Nicaragua and that political situation and how the Trump administration deals with it. That's the one I would watch a lot closer right now to see what happens with that. Because that could be at any time something that, that's what I'd watch right now. I don't have any intel on that. We just know it's a fragile situation down there right now.
Well, the other thing too is, and it's not new. I mean, this is a rumbling discussion that's been going for a long time. About the situation in Nicaragua, and it's bigger than the cigar industry, and I don't really know all of the other stuff about it, and I'm not going to really comment on it because I can't, because I don't really know a lot of the political stuff. But what I will say is I just know enough to know that bigger things happen. A huge percentage of this industry is based out of Nicaragua, so that could be a problem. If there's a political conflict.
That's why you're seeing people in Honduras. That's why you're seeing my father going into Honduras right now. I guarantee there you go.
Yeah, because that's a problem. So I don't know. So that's a very good point. I think you're right. You're not going to see Cuban cigars anytime soon because this administration is not going to end the embargo. I think we know that. So
and if Rubio's a candidate in 4 years, it certainly ain't going to happen.
Oh, of course.
Which I think is a possibility.
And I'll be honest with you, and I know there's a percentage of people who will disagree with this comment, but honestly, guys, I'm going to be really straight with you. We don't fucking need the embargo to end. You know why? We don't need Cuban cigars. We don't.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, you'd like to see it because of the novelty. That's why you want to see it. You want to be able to oh, wow, it actually ended. Like, wow, we actually have fucking Cohibas on the shelf. It's like, yeah, but do you want them here, though? How many are we going to get? They can't even fucking supply Europe right now because they're all going to Asia. Do you think they're going to be able to turn the ship around and supply the largest cigar market in the world? No.
But if you could see Padron work with Cuban tobacco, right?
Yeah, in that aspect, I get it. I get it.
When I interviewed George Padron, this was right around the time some of the embargo was loosening, right? I asked George in the interview on Stogie Geeks, I said, would this be something of interest? He said, absolutely. He would want to tackle Cuban tobacco. That's where I think you'd see that's where we'll see the benefit of the embargo, but not necessarily getting a Bahique on the shelf here.
Yeah, but Coop, here's the other problem with that, right? The Cubans can't even get enough of their own. They can't even grow enough of their own tobacco with the right quality to supply their own supply. Why the fuck are they going to go sell it to George Padron? Oh yeah, look. I understand the argument. Well, they can make money from them, but they're also now selling more tobacco that they don't have enough of to make their own shit.
Right now, they don't need the embargo to lift. You're right.
They don't.
It will change.
We don't need it. I think eventually it does go away. I think it does.
It won't be in my lifetime. I'll be retired when the embargo lifts or dead.
But
it won't.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, anyone who's holding their breath being like, oh, I can't wait for the Cubans. Like, dude, do yourself a favor. Move on. Stop overpaying for cigars that don't burn right, and don't lie and say, I'd never have an issue. I don't want to hear it, okay? I have a lot of experience with them, as do so many of us. We all know it's not
but look at the shit cigars we've gotten over. Anyway, I don't have them. So I think I think it would be good, but it's not something that it's urgent to save the industry. Is what
No, it's not. I mean, listen, I get it. The mystique is cool, but also, where's the mystique when you can just go buy them here? If you can go buy Monte Cristo number 2 from Two Guys Smoke Shop, are they that special? Especially when they don't fucking draw, and you're paying twice as much for them as the Dominican-made Monte Cristos? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Look at what Raphael's doing at Monte Cristo right now. I mean, he has totally made that brand like where he's elevated that brand.
I would rather
I can't wait for this M to come out.
I would rather spend $27 on one of Raphael's Monte Cristos than spend $3 on a Cuban Monte Cristo, because, or even $100, because at least I know, like, well, even if I don't love the cigar, it's gonna be a hell of a lot of a better value than that other fucking one, because the other one, maybe it won't draw, maybe it won't burn, maybe it'll taste funny, maybe it'll be stale, maybe the wrapper tobacco is gonna be too, like, I don't know, it's gonna look like shit because they don't have a lot of grade A tobacco. It's just the reality. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I always feel like the asshole who breaks the dreams of the Cuban cigar people, but that's the truth. It's not a lie. We all know it. It's proven. Also, here's the other dirty little secret about Cuban cigars. They're all the fucking same. Okay? You go into a cigar shop and
I didn't agree with. I think there's. We won't go there.
Well,
I don't agree with it.
I've had a lot of conversations. I've seen a lot of literature. You know, I've done some research on this.
Listen, I can
more or less. I'm not trying to drag you into it. No, and no one's gonna blame you for. I'm saying it. You don't have to say anything. But the dirty reality is, more or less, those Cuban cigars are all the same, and there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, it's not like the diversity that you have with everything you can buy here. You know, when you look at the Cuban portfolio, it's not as diverse as you think it is. That's the reality. So, again, stop wasting your money on Cuban cigars. Go buy some nice cigars from Padron or Drew Estate, or go find a nice boutique brand like Dapper or someone like that. You know, McAuliffe Cigars.
Great cigars.
Who does a great job. I mean, the new color series, the black, blue, and the red, I think those are some of the best cigars that company's ever produced. Go buy those. Don't go waste your money on fucking Puro Havana and wait 4 weeks for some cigars to come. They're going to be plugged, and you're going to pay $700 for some Coronas. Don't do it anymore. Stop doing that. No one needs to see that. What a waste. I'm sorry. I'll be the asshole. I'll take it, but I'm trying to help you.
Look. I don't buy Cuban cigars and have them shipped to me. I don't do that. But I ain't gonna lie to you. When I went to Italy, there were 2 brands I bought: Habanos and Toscano. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I bought Habano. I bought some Cohibas there. I ain't gonna lie to you. We can debate that whole same tobacco thing. I can poke a lot of holes into that.
Listen, if I was in Europe, would I maybe buy some? Sure, because like I'm there, and that's mostly what's going to be available. And I'm like, well, I'm here, I'm gonna do it. But that doesn't mean that I'm like, oh yeah, like this, like I'm gonna do this all the time. It's like I'm gonna do it and be like, ha, we did it.
Well, my number thing when I was in Italy,
it's a joke.
My number one thing in Italy wasn't Habanos. Number one was I wanted to find some of these Toscano brands you can't get here, and I did. That was very exciting to me.
That's actually interesting.
That was exciting to do that for sure. So. I mean, like I said, I think I told you the other brand I really saw in Italy was Perdomo. But Nick, I love you, but I didn't need to buy Perdomos in Italy. I took my Perdomos with me, so I had all my.
They were probably more expensive there too.
Well, yeah, but I spoke to Perdomo 30th and everything. I took a bunch of Perdomo 30ths with me. I took a bunch of I had actually a couple of the Amensos with me. Of course, a lot 23. So I had a good stock of Perdomos in my. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to try to find stuff I just couldn't get here. That was the goal. I was trying to find those Perdomo I think they have the Habano there. Don't they call it the Nicaragua or something like that?
What,
they
in
can't
Europe?
use Habano. Yeah, because they can't use Habano. I was trying to find those, and so I wanted to get those just to have have those like in a collection, but I couldn't find them the stores, and a lot of stores I think I told you were closed. That's what I was looking for there. Even though it's the same cigar, I just wanted the packaging of it. You know what I'm saying? Just to
Yeah,
have
because
it.
they can't use the word Habano outside of the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so there's probably a lot of brands that have, it's the same cigar, but it's got a different name to it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know exactly what his is, but I do know. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like this is another so what happens when the embargo ends? And all right, so now all the Habano shit comes in, but General and Altadis, they own all those trademarks, and then there's trademarks that other people own. Like Sanj Patel owns, I think that he might own the trade dress to the Cohiba design or something like that.
He owns his trade dress, but it's not. It was. I don't think it's. I think it's something he had before it went back. I think he's fine with it because it's.
Yeah. But my point is that those are owned here already. So then people are just gonna give those up. So then what do you do? So it's like I honestly I think the embargo staying in place is the right thing to do. There's a lot of reasons why, but we don't need that. I think it will be lifted eventually. I think you're right.
It won't be in my lifetime.
But I don't.
Matt,
think I'm
50. I'm 57 right now, right? 15 years from now, I'm 72, right? I don't know if I'm doing what I'm doing at this point, right? Hopefully, I'm alive, right? I don't. So if you go 15 years from now, we're in the year 2039. I don't think the embargo is lifted by then. So I'm just saying, I don't think I'm going to see it in my smoking lifetime.
And I've spoken to major retailers about this particular topic, and I've asked them, so what happens tomorrow? Hey, fair game. Cubans are coming in. What do you do? And almost all those retailers said, I'll buy them. But those cigars are all going to have their own very separate stipulation. I will not warranty them. So, if you go into Corona, you go into Two Guys, you go into Smoke Inn, you go into Blue Smoke in Dallas, you buy a Perdomo, and there's a problem with it, and you go up to them, and you say, go up to Jay, I just bought this Perdomo, and it didn't burn. Jay's going to say, let me get you another one. It's not like Perdomo. Let me replace it for you. Because he wants you to have the right experience with a good cigar that almost never would have a problem anyway. You go in there with a Cuban problem, they're going to say, sorry.
Well,
they're not going to guarantee that.
Well, as of today, you got to look at what the scenario may be to happen, though. Like, Habanos is going to have to establish Habanos USA would be the first thing, right?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of things.
They're going to have a distribution arm, and they could theoretically, that distribution arm, put a warranty in, but there isn't one now, to your point. So, hard to tell. What will happen, I agree with Abe on this one, a 3-year surge in Cubans, and then it dies down.
He's right. He is right. It'll be like,
oh
my God, you can get them, and then they're gone.
And then it will be, Abe is, I agree with him on that. We had a little debate on KMA, Habanos or the Saka overseas cigar, and I was on the Habanos side, I can tell you that. A lot of people, everyone else was on the Saka overseas cigar. And I said to everyone, you're going to be able to get the overseas. I guarantee you the overseas cigars are stole by U.S. retailers. I'm going to say this. This is a stone cold lead pipe lock that there will be retailers selling the Saka overseas cigar. I guarantee they're going to put an order in with someone in Europe, and they're going to be here, and they're going to be more, you'll see them. I guarantee you.
How many times have I gone into a retailer and I have found the European exclusive Plasencias on the shelf? How many times have I found retailers posting online that they have the Opus X 2020, also known as the Opus Dubai, that is not sold here?
Liga Privada Europe. Yeah, Liga Privada. They're all,
The Selección de Mercado, the Bauhaus, people got them here. They got them.
They're going to, like I said, this overseas cigar, there's going to be and I don't know if Abe's buying them or not, right? But Abe does all this business, this summer Saka. I can't see him not trying to pile some boxes from someone out of Europe. Send me 50 boxes of this thing, right? If they can get them, but I can't see Abe not trying to do that. He's like the biggest Saka Dumbarton retailer in the country.
Saka's not going to care. He already made his money.
No, they don't care. Skip Martin didn't care when I used to buy from a craft the Wonderlust. I bought them all here. I didn't have to go to Europe to get them. I paid a little more, but I actually paid less because I didn't have to get them shipped.
Yeah, that's true. It happens. So you're right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Hey, you're gonna be. Everyone's gonna get that Saka overseas cigar once. I guarantee you that.
while we're on the topic of Saka, not to do it this way, but I don't know. I have to try all my options. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I upset Saka. I don't know why.
What did you do? What did you do?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in forever. I've been trying to get in touch with him, and I don't really hear back.
He's busy. He's a busy guy.
I know he's a busy guy, but normally I stay in good touch with him. I haven't really heard back from him at all, and I'm like, did I do something? I know how he can be. He's a little temperamental.
He can be temperamental, but he'll let you know if he's mad at you. That's the difference. He's
Yeah,
not the kind of guy.
I guess that's a good point.
He will always let you know where you stand. No, if he's not getting back to you, he's busy. I'm sure. I wouldn't even worry about it.
I was a little worried. I'm like, what Stevie, come on. We were tight.
No,
what's going on?
Not at all. No. Look, he is chef, cook, and bottle washer for Dumbarton. So he's got a lot on his plate.
Compliment him on his weight loss. He's lost a lot of weight. You know, so I haven't really seen Steve in person.
He looks great, by the way.
But I heard a lot of people say that. They're like, dude, he looks good.
He does look good. You got to give him, and Abe lost a lot of weight too. You got to give those guys credit.
Yeah, Abe did lose a lot of weight. Good for him.
Abe looks great, man, and good. They look healthy, and I want those guys around for many more years. So I'm really glad. Steve looks great. Steve looks great. Good for him. Yeah. He looks like remember the Winter Warlock lost all the weight.
Yeah, how much? So, do you know how much weight Abe and Steve have lost?
I do not. You remember they did that whole weight loss thing where one of them has to wear the dress, and then they all basically fell off the wagon, so they all wore the dress.
Oh yeah.
Then they gained it. But they didn't look like they lost any weight when that happened, and then it was really over the last Abe in the last 2 years. And I'm really glad. I mean, like I said, they look good, and it's not like they look unhealthy losing the weight, that's the most important thing.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's always great to take care of yourself and be healthy, and always encourage people with that because it's very difficult. It is very difficult, and I think it means a lot to people to hear a positive reinforcement from that because it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, I dropped some weight. I dropped some weight this year, and it was tough. Yeah.
And for bigger guys like them to lose a good amount of weight, that really is a big deal.
And they've kept it off.
Yeah.
They've kept it off. I'm really happy for those guys. Yeah. They look good. Good for them.
It's funny because I feel like I see Abe traveling with Brandy more, and just kind of taking some time for himself, and he's losing weight. I'm like, dude, good for him, dude. He's at a good spot. He's letting the ship kind of run itself a little bit more, and because I know how hard Abe works. Steve too. I mean, they're always very involved in their business. They work very hard. That's why they're so successful and they've done so well. But I noticed in the last year or two I've seen Abe traveling more, and which I know is not something he usually would do because he's always working. So good good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing. They're living their lives, and they're not just succumbing to the never ending feeding of the machine, and I think that's great. So. I haven't spoken to either one of them in a bit, but I'm always excited to hear when they're doing well.
Yeah. No, Steve would let you know where you stand. Believe me.
Yeah. I know. I miss Stevie. I like Stevie. He's the man.
We love him. He's a great guy. Yeah, both. Yeah. Two great guys.
I want him to. I'm up in New Hampshire now. I want him to come over and do a show with me and hang out. It'd be awesome. Trying to get him down here. Last time he was like, "Yo, I'll come over." I was like, "Well, I was at my old spot, and it didn't really work out." But like now, I'm even closer, and I'm like, "Stevie, come on over to the studio. Let's hang." I know it'll be a long night because it's Steve, but I'm ready for it.
It will be a long night. Wait till you're feeling a little better. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for it now, but because he'll show up with some bourbon, and it'll be a new bottle, and I'm gonna be like, wow, we gotta put it down that. So, and I'm a trooper too, but I don't think I can do it right now. So
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So hopefully something changes with that. Let's see where are we at for time here. I'm gonna take a quick look. About an hour and 12. Coop, was there anything? And please don't be shy here. Was there anything else that you had on that came up that you wanted to discuss? I forgot to ask you this before the show, but I didn't know if you had anything in particular that was kind of a hot topic. We can get into it.
It's not a hot topic, but we really lost someone in the industry, an absolute titan,
Mm.
an absolute gentleman,
Oh yes.
in Jose Sejas.
Mm.
And I've said a couple of things on this. If chances are, if you have smoked cigars in your lifetime, even if it's not a lot, chances are you've smoked one of that man's blends.
Yep.
I've been very privileged. I got to interview him twice. We did it on Stogie Geeks, and I did one of those interviews I got to do solo. And I've actually spent time with him at IPCPR trade shows. It was, and he was an absolute gentleman. Gave me a lot of time. Enrique, his son, is a great guy. My heart goes out to all of them right now. I really do. I did know that his health had not been in good shape. Enrique had told me that we had Enrique on the show about 5 weeks ago. So I didn't realize obviously he was going to pass, but I did know his health had taken a turn for the worse. It's kind of funny because Enrique, when he formed Matilde Cigars with Enrique, and he had his other son was in at the time. Enrique got him to do these podcasts, and I believe we were one of the earliest podcasts to interview him.
Wow.
So he was an absolute gentleman. He touched me, in a way that I'll never forget. His kindness to me is, it just I haven't spoken to him in years, obviously, but I have kept in touch with Enrique. He was a good friend of mine. My condolences to the whole Sejas family, and really, this is the whole industry, and what we could do is really celebrate this man because he is just the work he's done over the past 4 decades, 5 decades actually. You just can't be understated. So I wanted to mention. I know we all put pieces out this week on him.
Yep.
Which was and I was surprised there were not more pieces on it written. So
yeah, me too. I mean, look, I never like writing those.
no,
I don't think anybody does. We write them because first of all, we should, because there should be a remembrance of somebody when they pass. 2,
Right.
because we have to. We have to cover that stuff. But it's not fun to do. You're sitting there and you're basically writing a reflection of someone's life because they're not here anymore. And
you can't.
the
do
reality
justice.
it's sad. You're right, and you'll never do enough justice. But just the whole thing is sad. It's sad, and I've done it a few times in my cigar career now. Probably not as much as you have, but I've had to do it a couple of times, and it's never fun.
No,
It's always a very strange article to write.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him. So, but still, I knew who he was, and I knew what he represented. And I knew the legacy that he left on the business, and I knew it was a big deal. And I knew I have to do this, because it's what should be done. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm selfish. Those interviews, I have those interviews. I embedded one of them in the article because, listen, Enrique probably got him to do those podcasts, and I think his story was at least got a chance to be told on a podcast. And, there's other, like I've talked to Carlito, how his father really didn't get that opportunity to do that. There was one with Jose Orlando Padron that they showed at the trade show this year, but those are rare as well. So those stories and that history is preserved somewhere, which is really good. Cigars probably people, a lot of smokers don't know of the excuse me, the Seas signature. Considered one of the, I had a chance to smoke that. It's one of the greatest cigars ever made. That was his basically his beacon that he did with that. It was and what a job he did with Matilde too, by the way. He kind of kick-started that company off and then turned the reins over to Enrique. What a job he did. So, but he was a kind guy. He was as kind a man, a genuine man, that I ever met. And I don't know anyone who had a bad word to say about this man. I hope, and I don't know if I'm going to be a Pro Cigar this year, but Pro Cigar should absolutely be doing a tribute to this man for what he did for the Dominican cigar industry. And I hope they do a big tribute to him. He absolutely deserves it.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you're right. I think that's very well said. Um, but we will remember Jose and all of the things he did for the industry, and his legacy will very certainly live on,
yeah,
as will so many others like him, um,
yeah.
from
Titan. Yeah,
from that those titans from that class,
yeah,
who are no longer with us.
yeah,
And I don't have really much more to say, and I think we're going to wrap up here. But the one other thing I will say is what's unfortunate is, you know, like generations, they come and go, and right now we're kind of at a point where over the next 10 years, maybe a little longer, but there's a lot of people we're gonna start to lose, and that's just because look, people are getting old, and that's just life. People, they grow up, they grow old, and that's it. And I think there's a lot of people who are kind of entering, that realm, and a lot of people we do know and love very well, and unfortunately, this is nothing you can do. We'll all be there someday as well, and
yeah,
that's life. But I think that there's a lot of them. I think coming, over the next decade or so, and it's sad. And I try not to think about it, but I know it's inevitable. And
yeah,
you try to
yeah.
just enjoy those moments you get with them while they're here, and because that's it when they're
Sure.
gone.
Well,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think it's a good note to end on,
yep,
and I appreciate you bringing that up, Coop. But that's going to be our
yep,
show for this week.
yep.
Guys, thanks for being here with us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to head to smokeandtobacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry. And we will see you on Wednesday night on our regular schedule.